I'm Tom Duane, and I am here to recruit you, and this is The Recruiters. Hi, welcome to The Recruiters. I am New York State Senator Tom Duane. I'm a former New York State Senator. And, I am the kind of person who lives in hope. I worry about the future sometimes, of course. It's hard not to. But my default is to be inspired by the people I see fighting for the disenfranchised, fighting for low-income people and minority groups, and fighting for really all kinds of disenfranchised people, fighting for their rights. And to not let fear overwhelm me. I've often heard the opposite of fear is faith. And here on The Recruiters, we have faith that taking action, that hard work, powered by you must have joy, can turn things around. And I have faith in that. And I do. And today will be a great episode, too, so stick around and find out what about Recruiters is so very special. Welcome.
I'm Charles Sanchez, and it's time to rally. Today, I want to address one of my favorite subjects, men. But actually, a subset of men that I'm not so fond of. Modern, Christian, conservative men who all think they're alphas. Apparently, we're all drowning in alphas right now. According to the internet, every guy with a podcast microphone and a ring light is a lone wolf leader of men. Which is interesting because if everyone is an alpha, statistically, that means that someone here is a labradoodle. There's this whole trend where guys insist society has collapsed because women don't want to be trad wives anymore. Oh, the trad wife, for those unfamiliar, is a fantasy where the man works, the wife cooks wieners, and everything looks like an episode of Make Room for Daddy. Meanwhile, these self-declared alphas keep warning us about an epidemic of male loneliness, which, to be clear, is a real issue for many men. Social isolation is serious. But it's hard to take the diagnosis seriously when the proposed solution is mostly yelling at women on TikTok. It's a little like someone burning down their house and then starting a podcast about the national fire shortage. And then there's another thing you'll notice about these alpha influencers. They spend a lot of time talking about transgender people. Specifically, how they need to protect women from them. Because nothing screams strong masculine protector like obsessing over who's using which bathroom. These guys talk like there's a tidal wave of danger coming from trans people. Meanwhile, the actual data on violence against women tells a very different story. In the United States, men commit the vast majority of violent crimes. The U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics and the CDC report that men commit 91% of rapes and sexual assaults in the United States, and 89% of all homicides. So, the biggest threat to women, statistically speaking, is not a transgender person in a bathroom. It's a man, usually a cisgender one, often someone the woman already knows. Which makes the alpha protector speech a little awkward. It's like the wolf giving a TED talk on sheep safety. And look, loneliness is real, but maybe the solution isn't becoming a louder alpha online. Maybe the solution is the boring stuff humans have used for thousands of years. Community, friendship, humility, actually caring about other people. Like church. Now, I don't go in for such nonsense. I meet my community in the potato chip aisle at Trader Joe's. But for y'all, instead of arguing about alpha energy on the internet, you could show up somewhere once a week, talk to other humans, maybe help somebody move a couch. Boom, instant social network. Plus, if you're committed to the whole traditional values thing, church is basically the original matchmaking app. 0 subscription fee and very high parental involvement. So maybe the path out of the male loneliness epidemic isn't becoming this louder alpha male. Maybe it's doing the least alpha thing imaginable, admitting you need community, humility, and other people. Or if that sounds too radical, you could always pray about it.
Damon L. Jacobs is a New York-based marriage and family therapist. He's the author of books like Absolutely Should Less and Rational Relating. He's best known for championing PrEP and sexual health activism, and that's in the New York area, but he's known around the world. He's appeared on MSNBC, ABC News, and other media sources, most of which I'm sure you have seen. He interviews other sexual health activists and healers in his bathtub on his award-winning series, Tub Talks with Damon. In 2016, Damon was honored to receive a Commissioner's Special Recognition Award through the New York State Department of Health, and he is my fabulous, fabulous guest today.
Thank you, Tom. I'm so happy to be here. It is so good to see you.
What does the L stand for?
L stands for
Lesbians?
lucky that I get to be here with you.
Okay. So I'm going to go in the bathtub with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your bathtub?
Yes, so the bathtub series came about in 2021 as we were starting to have vaccines that were readily available for COVID.
Yes.
And everybody was in this new ground of like, what are we doing? What does socializing look like? What are we doing as New Yorkers? Where are we going politically? It was optimistically a time politically. I had just turned 50 and I wanted to talk to some of the activists, the educators, the healers, the influencers about what they were feeling and thinking and what they saw our future looking like. And I thought, what better way to do that than to have naked conversations in a bathtub? There were no masks, no underwear. We're just going to sit and chat. And that was sort of, for me, privately, a tradition that I had loved, being a gay person in different queer areas,
Yes.
of being able to be naked with other men and,
Right.
and women and
Yes.
talking about issues and very serious issues in a very silly situation.
So I am of the age of having sex with people, a lot of sex with a lot of different people. It was like it was the outlaw thing to do. It was our subculture's like difference. It's what made us like special.
Yes.
Is that we had a lot of sex with a lot of different people,
Yes.
right? And then all of a sudden, bang, they started to say, limit the number of people. This is a actually the AIDS crisis had already begun. And then they finally said, oh, the virus is spread through transmission, as I used to love to say on the floor of the Senate, unprotected oral, vaginal, which is not really, and anal sex. Then I went to using condoms exclusively. I was not exclusive, shall we say, but I used, for 40 years, it seems like I used condoms. So tell me, how has the world changed?
So I came out in 1988, and that was during the time where we were told that if you had unprotected sex without condoms, that the result could be death.
Right.
And that wasn't just fear-mongering, that was the reality.
Yes, absolutely.
In Los Angeles, in San Francisco, knowing people with AIDS meant losing people to AIDS.
Yes.
And living in the Castro area of San Francisco meant having colleagues and clients and roommates and lovers who died of AIDS. So that was a very real message,
Yes.
that if you're having sex and you're having anal sex, this could potentially lead to death, even if and when you use condoms.
Right.
And I was very staunchly using condoms consistently.
Especially if you were the anal receiver, shall
Well,
we
yeah,
say.
I was going to say, I've always loved bottoming. I've been a happy bottom
proud
since 1989.
bottom.
Proud bottom since 1989.
Say
But
it
there
loud,
was
I'm a bottom and a
proud
proud.
bottoms and proud. But there was always that fear. There was always that cloud hanging over. Oh, is
Yes.
this the time I'm going to have to pay for it? Is this the time I could lose my life for
Do
it?
I believe the person then when they say,
Well, Tom, I never asked, and here's the reason why. I wouldn't ask a person his HIV status, because back in 1990, 1989, half the people didn't know anyway. We didn't have effective testing, that even if someone had been tested, their result was only like, okay, you were negative 6 months and 2 weeks ago.
it didn't
So you
necessarily,
didn't really know.
Right,
So it was just contemplating like, okay, I'm a horny 19-year-old who wants to get fucked. Do I do this or do I not do this? And if I'm going to do this, let's just go the other way and assume that everyone is positive.
protect yourself. It was
I
your
was to protect
responsibility.
myself.
Yes.
Make sure that condom was on, that it didn't fall off, didn't fall in, but that put so much of the responsibility on the top. Once I learned about PrEP in 2011, once I started considering the option
Revolutionary.
of using PrEP in 2011, it was like, wait a minute, I could have the kind of sex that I want to have and not get HIV? That was a game changer. So not only did that radicalize and change our community sexually, but it also changed us psychologically for the ability to have a locus of control over our bodies in a way we had never had, or at least hadn't had for over 25 years. That was very, very significant in my development and in the development of so many other people. And I was like, okay, so this is 2011, 2012. The FDA just approved PrEP, but nobody would talk about it.
Two eureka moments for me. In 1997, I was walking, it was right before I went to the Senate, and I was walking up the stairs in the city council chamber, and I said, oh my God, I might live a while. You know what I mean? Because I had lived like I was going to die. Then the other thing is, it took me till like, honestly, a year and a half ago to realize, oh, I have been undetectable for years. But
right, because undetectable, let's make sure with
U equals U.
U equals U.
Yes,
undetectable
very
is
important.
untransmittable.
Yes.
But people were not getting that
But
information.
it's because I was like 30-something years of this is how you do it, don't change. I was just in the habit of doing it and didn't really understand the significance, that it could have in my own life. For everyone else, I understood it, but I was in the habit of, anyway, I don't think I was alone with that, but anyway.
Right,
so,
that condoms felt like they had to be used, that even once we surpassed, the science said they don't have to be used to prevent HIV, that undetectable is untransmittable.
Yes.
With or without a
Let's do
condom,
the
that's
U
100%.
U equals U is like I might even take the course and get the degree in U equals U because it makes so much sense, and it makes everything, it's going to reduce the stigma for everybody that U equals U, and it's not as widely known as it should be either, so U equals U.
But to get that, to reduce the stigma, we have to talk about it the way we're doing it. We have to normalize it and universalize it to say that living with HIV is not something that one needs to be ashamed of.
Right.
And that medically speaking now, there is no shift in the life expectancy
Right.
between someone who's living with HIV and not living with HIV.
Just regular old people stuff, I get.
There's aging, and there's
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Right, but to normalize that so that if we have PrEP for people not living with HIV, and we have
Yes.
U equals U for people living with HIV, those are great by themselves, but when we put them together, it's like peanut butter and jelly. It's like you smush them together and they taste even better. So that's why PrEP and U equals U go hand in hand.
You've started a TV show.
Well,
called
YouTube series.
YouTube. No, that's well.
Well,
The kids, that's all they watch is
Okay.
YouTube. So,
Sure.
the kids,
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
well, again, so Tub Talks was when I turned 50 in 2021.
I keep shocked.
Yeah.
Shock. And
I wrote a series it's still up, called 50 Lessons of 50. The 50 reasons why I was so excited about turning 50. And after I had done that, I thought, okay, I'm done talking to myself. I'm done with my point of view. I want to hear from the people who I've looked up to, the people who inspire me, the people who are seeking to live a life with healthy aging, with U equals U, with PrEP, and redefining what it means psychologically and sexually and politically to be coming of age in the 20s. What does this look like? What are the whoring 20s going to look like? And what do we want it to look like?
Right.
That's what the series has really been about. What it has become 5 years later, and I didn't even anticipate this, is that every single guest, all 230 people I've interviewed so far,
Wow.
I hope you're 231,
I'm coming on.
is that every single person is contributing to our world in a unique way to make our community a happier and healthier place. And that has become my respite. It has become my antidote to the nightly news, is to go back and listen and watch these people who are fighting so hard for change under great adversity.
Because what you're talking about is exactly what we try to do here, is talk to activists and just people. What are you trying to do to change the world, to change particularly the horrible world, especially and uniquely and unbelievably the horrible world in which we're living because of the leadership at the top. How do we recruit people to fight back against it? And those are the people you're talking with.
Yeah. Only I'm doing it naked.
Really? No clothes on? I mean,
So what about that is uncomfortable?
Raised Irish Catholic. Nothing happens below the waist. It took me a very long time actually, that's not true. At the age of 17, I was willing to take my pants off for just about anybody. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And without, no fear, no shame, no nothing.
But that was like in a sexual context?
Which I compartmentalized.
Yes. So most Americans do,
Yes.
right? We compartmentalize nudity. We put nudity and sex together and then put it away from everything else. I think what a lot of us do is to normalize nudity as a natural way of communicating and having conversations with people that we just love to talk with.
Have you heard of Easton Mountain
Oh, I
Resort?
love, yeah, I've taught there. Yeah,
so-
love Easton Mountain.
Because
Shout out to Easton Mountain.
They encourage nudity.
Oh, yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
I stayed there for a whole semester while I was in Albany. It was the best year I had in my life in the Senate at Albany, was when I stayed overnight while I was in session at Easton Mountain.
Yes, it is a beautiful thing. And I think this is one of the ways that we communicate, connect, and reduce loneliness.
Yes.
Is by being able to be natural. Now, again, people don't have to be naked to do that. But I think that's one of the ways that we are forging ahead as queer people, to say we want to create a life, a community, an extended family that is about empowerment and connection and respect and being vulnerable and intimate with our bodies.
You also are a therapist.
Yes.
And people come to you, you're known if you have some questions or some issues around sexuality and sex, not even sexuality, but just downright basic sex. That's your specialty, yes?
Yes, sexual health and mental health and the intersection. That
It's
when
all-
we
it's
have
health.
one, we have more access to the other.
The brain is the sex organ.
That's our most important sex organ, is the one between our ears.
You know, even when I was teaching, when I was talking to the kids about, what they wanted to be when they grew up, I would say, it's the joy of the journey. I said, I said, excuse me in advance for telling you like this, but you know what it's like? Foreplay is the good part, because once you have the orgasm, it's all over. So once you reach whatever job it is that you want, it's all over, and then you have to start all over again with a different dream from a different job. You know what I mean? What do you call
foreplay
it?
sometimes, and almost implicitly, has the goal expected that one is going to reach orgasm.
Right.
And that doesn't always happen.
No.
Sometimes it happens by choice, or sometimes it doesn't happen because our bodies aren't working the way we want them to.
Too
which is a
soon or
very
not at all,
natural
or
thing.
we just decide not to. We just want the connection, the physical connection.
The
Yes.
touch, which is very meaningful and beautiful and healthy in and of itself, with or without orgasm attached to that.
And then there's the other side of the coin. There are people that have sex when they don't want to be having sex. There is also, sex addiction within the gay community, and which I used to think it was only a gay thing, but it's not. Straight people have it also. But do people come to you about that as well?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. And a lot of times, what they're called, there is no clinical term for sex addiction. That is something conservatives love to throw around. It is not a clinical term you'll find in the DSM.
It was, and then it was taken out.
Well, so they tried. They really tried to get it in the DSM-5.
Right.
What is problematic is compulsive behavior that people don't have control over. So if that's sex, that could be a problem. If that's gambling, that could be a problem. If that's video games, that could be a problem. So whatever one might be doing that is perceived as out of their control, that can be problematic and have devastating consequences. That's kind of the range that I look at it as.
Yes, and I understand
And we try to
that.
take the morality out of that and focus on the behavior.
I'm in recovery from absolutely everything.
Okay.
And even for things that there are 12-step programs for.
Yeah.
But I'm also a recovering sex addict, because I was having sex even when I didn't want to be having sex. I was having sex. In the same way that I can absolutely be around people at a party when they're drinking and I'm still having a good time, I absolutely am totally 100% sex positive. You know what I mean? Even though for me, I have to have my own boundaries around sex, for it to be healthy. But the one thing I do tell people about is, you could use condoms because you get the same old-fashioned diseases: syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia.
Ooh. I got something for you for
Oh,
that.
good.
Can we
Okay.
talk about that?
Yes, let's.
Okay. So up until 9 years ago, that was the case. That the only way we could talk about preventing STIs like chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis were through latex barriers.
Not pregnancy wasn't a problem.
Right. Now, or since 2017, we've had the science, the data, the research that shows that use of a very common generic antibiotic called doxycycline that's been out in the world since 1967, just 2 doses does a lot to reduce the possibility that one will get chlamydia, gonorrhea, or syphilis. It reduces it by about 2/3. And we've seen this in France. This was replicated at UC San Francisco in 2022.
Doxy is a very, very big part of your mission at this point.
Yeah, because it reduces these. So when if someone takes doxycycline to prevent STIs, yes, that feels good. You're actually also contributing to lowering the group rates in the community. And we've seen that in San Francisco. We've seen that in Seattle, that when they make doxycycline to prevent STIs, when
Right.
they make that widely available to the general public without shame, without stigma, they see community rates of STIs coming down in their sexual health clinics.
It's mostly gay white men, though, who know that, who have access to it very easily. But people of color still not. It's not part of their regular preventive health measures. Correct?
And this is why we need the Department of Health to get on board with this, why we need government and agencies to be on board with this, so that it's not just this privileged white drug that people take.
Right, it's for everybody.
I'm a privileged white male. I've been using it since 2017. And I have not had a single STI since 2017 when I used DoxyPep. You know how many STIs I had before that? Quite a few. Because, I was going a little crazy with the PrEP thing in a good way. I wouldn't say compulsive.
Like an outlaw.
But I was having, I was making up for lost time once I got hold of PrEP. So that there was these clusters of STIs I would get, the big three, syphilis, chlamydia, gonorrhea. I'd be at that Chelsea Street clinic,
Yes.
several times.
Oh, yes.
That changed when I started adapting use of doxycycline in 2017. So for me, once again, another sexual but psychological game changer.
And as you can see with me, I know it, but I don't know it for me. Do you know what I mean? I'm not in the habit.
Because you're just taking it when needed. It's not something you do on a daily basis or a monthly. It's just if or when you want it. You take it within 24 to 72 hours
I have
after
a date tonight.
being exposed.
I have a date tomorrow night.
Okay.
No, I mean, I'm saying that's how you think about it, right?
After, though.
Right.
It's right now the research and science we have.
You should have
after.
it in your medicine chest, if you will.
You could. Now, we might learn from the data that's being done right now that there's additional benefit that if you take it before sex, maybe it'll provide additional protection. We don't have that data yet, but that's a question that's being asked. But right now, you don't have to have a habit around it. Doxycycline, again, is not a new drug. This is a new usage for an old drug. So doctors have some familiarity with this drug, but there is definitely pushback. And that pushback mostly has to do with stigma, not really about the science. The science is clear. The data is clear.
Stigma is stigma.
The morality, the dogma, the stigma. Anytime we give same-loving gender men a chance to have sex, more sex without condoms, a lot of the American medical profession pushes back right away. It's like a reflex. And I think that's PTSD from AIDS, and I get it. I remember that, and I remember how hard that was, and I never want to go back to that time either.
And I also want to just thank you for being here. I want to thank you for the work that you do. You are in many ways saving the world, and you're recruiting. And just for a moment, what is the best tool that you use to recruit and that other people can use to recruit, and then they can recruit others?
Living my truth in the best way I can. Now, social media is good in this way because it gives us the ability, unlike standing out on the corner of Market and Noe with a clipboard, for hours. What we can do if we're using social media intentionally is to use this technology to enhance and educate others and help them see, here's this way. Here's the way that I'm learning how to shine. Here's the way that I'm learning how to enjoy my life.
Fuck you, Christian nationalists. I'm going to talk about sex.
And you know what else? Because I did bring you a gift.
Oh, yes.
I want to show you because I brought you.
See, I have the Chelsea one, but this is a universal one.
This is for you.
Because the red is important. The red's a big deal.
Red's a big deal. The reason I also talk about this as far as recruitment is because I'll walk around my neighborhood in Brooklyn and I carry this whistle. And I haven't had to use it. Knock on wood, but I'm prepared to because this is what we are using as recruiters to try to save lives, to save people from the trauma of being disappeared by ICE.
You're recruiting people to wear their whistles.
To wear their whistles.
And to get whistles. If they don't have a whistle, you can get a whistle because almost every neighborhood in New York City has an anti-ICE group that you can attend one of their meetings, as I do, and you get them for free.
Yeah. The idea of the whistle is that if you see an ICE agent in your neighborhood, you let your community and your neighbors know by blowing 3 short breaths. That's when you see the ICE agents.
Right.
Right? Not the regular police.
No,
but the ICE agents.
In those black things and the masks and the.
Now, that's just if you see them in the area. If you actually see them disappearing somebody or engaging somebody or physically deterring somebody, then we do as much as you can, as loud as you can, as long as you can. If you look at the Minneapolis videos, there was a lot of people just blowing the whistles because that was drawing attention. Then what we do, if you hear this, is take out your phone and document. Don't get involved. Don't interfere. That's where we get trouble. What we're being told as volunteers in Brooklyn to do Take out your
Document.
phone, document to the best
Document.
of your ability, get the
Yes.
names of the ICE agents. They may not tell them, but you can still maybe get their license plate number. If you can do it safely, get the license plate number and document as much as you can, and then share it with the local hands-off group in your area. That's doing our part as recruiters to help save the communities that we love, that we care about. And even if you don't love and care about them, just remember that this, they're coming after brown people now. They're going to come after gay people next.
This is like the gay men that want to throw the trans overboard. No.
Yeah.
First of all, they are part of our queer community. And second of all, that's how they're going to get to the rest of us. You
Yes.
don't think that's what's going to happen? That's
This is
exactly.
the plan.
It's already happening. It's already happening. So I love my new necklace.
Yes.
I love this.
Yes.
Thank you. I will be wearing this all the time. On the show, I don't usually wear my buttons, but I have an ice with a slash through, because of all things, it is absolutely the thing that I just think is the most hateful, despicable, horrible thing that's happening, is what ICE is doing.
It's terrible, and we're not helpless behind this.
No.
We
no.
all can be
Chicago,
doing-
Minneapolis, they proved that.
Right.
Drove them out of town.
Right.
So they're doing it a different way now, because they learned how to they got a little bit smarter, which is not
Well,
their,
and we're smarter than them.
which is not their specialty. Smart is not their specialty at all. All right, well, thank you for that also.
Yeah.
So we're talking about sex and protecting our neighbors no matter what.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And when I get in the tub, you'll help me with my body dysphoria?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
So,
No, I so appreciate everything you've done to help our community be happy and healthy over the decades, and I'm so honored to talk with you and be here. So
thank
you.
But like you, it's my vocation, and I had no choice. I was called to do it, and I feel like that's the same with you. You just can't help it. You must do what you must do, because you have been called to do it, and that saves lives, and it protects people, and it's wonderful, and I thank you. Everyone watching at home, I want to thank you for tuning in for another rousing episode of The Recruiters. And I want to thank the staff here at MNN for all their work filming my show and, making me look good, which is not easy. I want to thank my whole staff because they keep this show going. I am keeping the faith, and you should too. Our faith in the future is greater than the fear they want to instill in us. Living our lives out and proud and doing what we can to help others, that keeps my faith alive, and a better world is possible if that's what's going on. So there's joy in the journey too. Remember that, joy in the journey. So keep taking some joyful action. Recruiting isn't just politically smart, it's fun. You might meet someone. Help. Keep the faith and join us next time here on The Recruiters. I said help because he's single. Thank you for tuning into The Recruiters. We'll see you next time.